Hola, ¿cómo va? Estamos acá para un vivo espectacular con el director de Baskin, Can Evrenol. I'm going to speak English, so be ready. Uh, o turco, pero no hablo de turco. O sea, un poquito, sé decir las cosas básicas. Hey Can, hey Kaip Kardishim, hey, how are you? Please join. I'm going. Yeah, Can.
Buenas.
How are
Hi.
you?
Hello.
So nice to meet you. I know this word in Turkish, kayıp kardeşim. That's okay?
My lost brother.
Yeah,
Yes, brother.
that's the only thing I know. Welcome. This is Clara, by the way. She's an actress here and a fan of horror fan.
Yes, Clara, I watched you in the previous live talk, and you're also a composer, right?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome.
And a huge fan of your work.
Awesome. My
Yeah.
pleasure.
Well, thank you very much, Can. I have to say, you, Baskin, it's really, for me, it's one of the best film I've seen in years, a horror film since Hellraiser. I think a lot of people compare your film with Hellraiser. And I don't know if you have heard this also, because in a way that they deal with the idea of hell like a different dimension.
Yeah. Well, actually, it never occurred to me when I was shooting the film or editing the film. This only came about after the screenings, whichever Q&A we went to. Hellraiser came up, Silent Hill came up,
Yeah.
amongst many other things, and these two things are like very influential on me, but I wasn't necessarily thinking about them when I was doing this. But all the other stuff I was like influenced by, they were probably influenced by Hellraiser anyway, so it just makes sense. Hellraiser is one of my all-time favorites. So and I can see why the connection with the villain and the head Cenobite too. There's a connection there too, I guess.
Yeah. And what about the Prince of Darkness of Carpenter?
Prince of Darkness. I think you also. It's really crazy. Last time you were on this show, I listened to this like maybe like more than 10, 15 minutes without understanding a word, but I was able to pick titles that you were mentioning, and I think you mentioned Prince of Darkness there too. And
I'm a huge
I'm
Carpenter fan, and I
I'm
can see that you are too by looking at your films.
I'm a huge Carpenter fan, definitely. I think it would be fair to say he's like in my top three all-time most beloved directors. So yeah, there's definitely that.
So, and also I could see, I'm a huge Lovecraft fan,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you read them or not, but I think that you did because most of your films, well, I saw three of your films. What's been going on?
This is Lovecraft's portrait. I don't know if you can see it
Ah,
up
yeah,
there
I
I
can see him.
at
Poor soul, rest in peace, Lovecraft.
at the top of my collection. Yeah.
Well, I can see that you're a huge fan of Lovecraft by watching your films and just um, your stories based in this oniric world. I saw like, that Lovecraft has like three phases in his life. Like
Mm.
one that is most about like the sort of the Cthulhu call, and then
Mm-hmm.
he moves towards the oniric world and the way in which we can travel through dimensions even by just going into our sleep. And I think
Uh-huh.
that when I first saw Basking, I I saw a nightmare from beginning to end, and I felt I was in a nightmare. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I saw the film, and I swear to you, it was like as if I was asleep and I was in a nightmare. So that was my nightmare. I mean, if I had the worst nightmare of my life, I think it would be Baskin,
Oh my
like the
gosh.
gates of hell. And I was like, how the hell? Because every single moment of the film just like it just feels like part of this dark side that is inside me. And maybe it's a sort of catharsis of this
Hmm.
hell vision that maybe we have, and the phrases that the bad guy says, like hell, we honestly bring hell with us. Like hell
Yeah.
is a thing we carry with us,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's our dreams, man. Like life, our dreams, everything. So it was really really difficult for me watching your films more than 2 times, because they are really intense, and then really I really connect with them. So that is something that I was like, okay, I will see them, because I know that you're one of the greatest directors that I saw in this last 10 years in horror films. But you take me to dark places, man. You take me to the darkest places.
I'm
I have to be
flattered in the
prepared.
darkest possible way. I'm really flattered. This is You're too kind. Thank you. But yeah, um, uh, it's really interesting. Actually, I only discovered Lovecraft at the age of I would say maybe 24, 25, maybe 26. Now I'm 39, and this was right about when I shot my first short film. So, but the thing is, when a friend of like it was really there was this friend who was really influential on me, and I was telling him about my short stories I wrote when I was 13 or 14, and there was this one short story in particular where this little kid finds a it was like a one pager, I think I wrote
Mhm.
as a homework. This kid finds a green rock, and then she takes it out of the water in the summer place, and I just like gets big and big and big and big. It swallows everything, and until like at the end, it swallows the whole world. Uh, it escalates pretty quickly. But like he listened to it, and then he said, "You know what? Like I think you have a very Lovecraftian side in your stories and in your everything." I'm like, really? Okay, I should give this Lovecraft a try, because I only knew Lovecraft from a Metallica song. There was a Metallica song back in the day, and I always knew that there's this Cthulhu and everything, but it was really a revelation for me to discover Lovecraft, and I was just blown away. I started with Call of Cthulhu,
Yeah.
and when I was like I agree with you that the horror in Call of Cthulhu is something else, and then there's also this other side of Lovecraft which I'm even more influenced by, with like the thing at the doorstep,
Like the
and
Dunwich Horror.
the Dunwich Horror. But I'm especially like influenced by the thing at the doorstep, and also the picture on the wall,
Mm.
and maybe the music of Eric Zahn. And it's really interesting because although I didn't know anything about Lovecraft, I grew up with a fond fascination with Conan. And then I only found
Conan,
out later
yeah.
that Conan's writer Robert E. Howard and Lovecraft are big like pen pals, and there's like pages and pages of their like emails, like not emails, sorry, mails to each other back and forth. And yeah, so I was like very happy, and it was right about the same time when I discovered Lucio Fulci. I rediscovered Carpenter. I rediscovered Slayer. I had always been an Aphex Twin and Chris Cunningham fan, and I just wanted to pour all that together, and all, obviously David Lynch and Cronenberg. Just like I wanted to pour all of them together into this one final movie. Maybe I would never be able to. I at the time I didn't know. Maybe I was not going to have a film career at all. You know, this was a one-time thing that I shot with my parents' money, if you will. And my parents are not super rich. Like we don't have like, I mean, we didn't have enough money to shoot like two Baskins. You know, like so I just spent it all, and it was a crazy adventure.
No, no, but I can
Actually,
see.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was intrigued by the visual. I mean, for me, it was, a spectacle of visual, of colors, of beauty. But at the same time, well, thank you very much for this because I read it a lot. I really love the idea. And I wanted to ask you because there is a lot of visual poetry. Especially, there's a scene I never forget about when the main character falls in the water and you see a giant hand. I mean, where did you get the influence for all that imagery? I mean,
the
did
Prince
you
of
have the
Darkness.
influence? Yeah.
Actually not. And like I'm really sometimes it's really funny. For instance, after the screening of Housewife in Sitges, like people came up to me, and like 5 out of 10 was saying La Seta, La Seta, the sect. have you seen The Sect from Suavi, Michel Suavi? You know, the guy who did Cemetery Man, which I love, which I adore. And I was like, no, I don't know that movie. And then I watched it, and I was like, whoa! It was so similar, the way they take out the face of a woman, and then the guy wears it, and like it was a crazy like subconscious connection. But I think this all comes down to being influenced from the same iconic horror vocabulary that we all have a common love for. Obviously, you guys too. So it all comes down to that. And when I was doing Baskin, I was also with my other films too. I always like try to. It's not I try. It just like comes up that way. My my bag of vocabulary to do a movie doesn't only always contain horror, but also music from Social Network, music from Gone Girl. For instance, like some little stuff from David Lynch, little stuff from maybe Guy Ritchie, and I just mashed them up. And also some Turkish directors, which I'm very Turkish art house like that. They have nothing to do with horror, but like it's just an amalgamation of all of them together. Yeah.
There is a David Lynch style in every single one of your films. Sometimes when the characters are speaking, like the sense of being in a dream and having a conversation about something, like the conversation in a dream about a dream. That is something that I really enjoyed. And the thing about being trapped in a dream. And also, I think that Baskin is sort of, the characters maybe are trapped since the beginning of the film in the dream. So it's something that I think it really gets to you, because you were speaking about something unconscious. And I think that horror genre is a sort of cathartic instrument that we have as society to just let go of our horrors that we have inside of us, our fears, and people all around the world. No matter where you are, we all share the same fears of death, of the hell, of even living through some things that are really terrible through life. We're scared. And I think that we want to just get these monsters out of us. And so I think that maybe when I see some people that maybe write similar stories but never spoke to each other, or maybe they make films that are very similar to each other but never saw each other. And I believe that that is something that we have inside of us, and just we want to purge them. We want to just let them go. So that is something that maybe in the deepest of our nightmares we can see that is something that we have to let go, and we can see it in films, and that is something really cathartic.
Very well said. Definitely. Just like being a metal fan.
You're a football and metal fan.
Yeah.
No, actually, I wanted to ask you if you watch Gaspar Noé films, because I also see something of him. I mean, I don't know if it was conscious or unconscious, especially the use of the music and the distortion of the images.
I mean, for sure, this is a big compliment. Obviously, I'm a big fan of his very first movie with the. I Stand Alone. Yeah. And then also I was super happily surprised by Climax, which I loved almost as much as I loved Irreversible. And also I had the chance to chat to him a couple times. And he was just like nonstop, and he just he met me like 2 minutes after he met me, and we were at the bar drinking in Paris, and he was just telling me about like all these crazy movies that I had never heard about, and I was taking notes, and he was very passionate, and he was almost not even listening to me, but he was in his own world, just preaching these movies to someone. He realized that he found someone who cares, and then like it was a very crazy, maybe over half an hour conversation I had with him. I don't remember much. I was super drunk. He was super drunk, but like I took lots of notes and everything. Like he told me also movies.
By the way, Demian Rugna sent you regards. The director of Terrified. You met him. He sent you regards.
In Morbido.
Also Pablo Isa.
You know something. Sorry, but people are speaking in Turkish. Maybe they are writing questions or everything.
Yeah,
Maybe you can
there
translate.
are Turkish fans that contact me. They asked me to ask you about your next project and also a movie called Necroman something. Oh, I don't remember.
Naked.
Necroman, a movie, a film, Necro something. I can't remember. Um,
No, it's.
and what about?
I mean, right after I did Girl with No Mouth, there was.
I really enjoyed that one. It's so
I
beautiful.
really love it.
It's like
And
the
like,
Lost Boys story. I really
yes,
enjoyed
yes.
it. Yes.
Yes.
It's actually, to be honest, it's a bit of a heartbreak for me because Girl with No Mouth wasn't met with the same embrace from international horror festivals or like genre festivals or any festival. It's just like two festivals which really loved it, and then the rest just passed on it. And
Really?
yeah, and actually, when we finished the film, we sent it to Sundance, and Sundance the head of Sundance sent me like this big letter saying like they really loved it, but it was a last minute decision. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's like, okay, we passed, okay, Sundance, probably some other festivals. And then the other festivals just went silent, all of them. And I was like, this is very, like, I don't know, I love the movie, and it's just like very puzzling to me. But this is the way show business works, you know, sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't. So, although people who watch Girl with No Mouth really talk with lots of love. It didn't catch a cult audience yet. Maybe it will at some point. You never know. But it has been something, and I tried something different than my like hardcore horror heart. I tried something different, and it kind of paid off like spiritually to me. It really paid off here, but it didn't pay off like in any other way. So it's been like really interesting. But it will be interesting to see where if it goes anywhere in the next couple of years, next time. Maybe like if a couple other movies of mine become more famous, people look back to this and they discover it, or maybe it was a bit of a too much of a too niche of a movie. You know, you never know.
Niche.
I
Doğru.
think one of the things I love it's a dark fairy tale in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I expect it's a well kind of a road post-apocalyptic movie, but in a dark fairy tale way. I really love these kind of films, but it's a very specific film. And what I love about this film is so completely different to Baskin. Baskin, it's well a nightmarish, the idea of a nightmarish, dimension experience. This one is completely different, and I really love you take this risk because this happen when you, as an artist, you take a different path when you do that. Well, I mean, people is okay; they are expecting more of the same. But I really congratulations for taking this risk because it's a beautiful movie, and I'm sure people will start liking it soon enough. I really believe that. And I wanted to ask you about your inspiration for this film because, well, Clara say the Lost Boys, the idea of it's a really beautiful story. So where did you get your inspiration?
I mean, the main inspiration is really funny, but it's a modern comic book called Sweet Tooth, and
Yes.
they recently did a Netflix version of it, which I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed because you know why? Because what I mainly borrowed from that comic book is the dark tone of a little Pinocchio type of story in a post-apocalyptic world. But what in the Netflix show, I watched the first episode, although it was really cool. And if I didn't have two kids, I would maybe continue. But I found the main actor, he was like from a Kinder Surprise egg commercial, you know, like everybody was like so clean. The bad guy, he looked so clean, but if you go back to the book, it's like all the faces are like this, and when you're introduced to a character for pages and pages, you don't really know it's a bad guy, good guy, and it's really dark, it's really stark, you know. So so I was impressed, I was like influenced by that. And you said like I've always wanted to do a post-apocalyptic movie, and I always wanted to do a little kids on a mission movie. Why not I just mash them together and just do this crazy shit like while I have some money from the government? Because the thing is like we applied for a government grant and they gave us some money, and I was like over the moon. But the only rule was like it's not going to be plus 18. So it cannot be an R-rated movie. So I said, you know what, this is my chance to make a dark children's movie, because I always wanted to do a dark children's movie at heart. And it kind of turned out to be a little lighter than I thought. But you know what, when you start a movie, you just go with the flow. And this was where this movie's heart was. So, so this, and yeah, this was the result. But it's really interesting. After that, during that film, I also took a different turn from my visual style. And
Yeah,
if you look at Baskin and Housewife, they are like all these like colorful, like Mario Bava, Dario Argento type of, and synth music, lots of close-ups, lots of like gliding moves. And you know what, on Girl with No What, maybe we never used a single tripod, never used a close-up lens, and it was always like camera on shoulder. And I think that gave also a different kind of spirit to the film. And that experience really had like a great effect on me. And then after that, I was looking for some work, and I met some like wonderful different people in my life. And they came up with this idea to do something else for a Turkish digital platform. And I had a little story on the side, which I was kind of like influenced by Fleabag and like maybe a little Sex and the City even. And it was about this girl I know, like in real life. She was having some like, sometimes she was having sex with money. And also she's not a prostitute, and she's a very cute little girl who lives with her grandma on a different part of Istanbul. And I wrote a little story about that. And it turned out to be my next project. I don't know if you heard about it, but and it became a huge underground hit in Turkey, more than Baskin, more than anything else I've done. And that movie we shot it with iPhones only.
Yeah.
And I continued this style of camera on shoulder, kind of like Harmony Korine, Larry Clark type of attitude onto this new show. And we shot the whole thing with iPhones.
What iPhone? What number?
At the time, iPhone 11 was the best, so we shot it with iPhone 11. And
Great.
then and it was super guerrilla, but it turned out to be very, very realistic. And in Turkey, I don't know if you know, but for the past 10, 15, 20 years, censorship became so bad. We rarely see people kissing in Turkish movies on TV. On art house Turkish movies, everything goes on. But like on TV and on digital platforms, like really there's like huge censorship. So what we did was quite vanilla in terms of international standards, but it made a very cool statement, if you will. And at the end of the day, it was like a fun story. So, and it was like my first ever non-fantastic auteur work, you know, like that I wrote and directed. I co-wrote it with a wonderful co-writer. Her name is Merve. And then since it became a huge hit, the produce, but they paid us so little. The price of having your final cut and like no censorship is like getting paid so little. They said like, we're gonna pay you little again. We want season 2. And then I don't want to give any spoilers, but season 1 ends up in a very shocking, dark ending. Although the whole series has nothing to do with shocking and dark, there's a very shocking, dark boom out of the blue ending. And then the second season, I went completely bonkers with it. It takes place in a dream logic, astral projection, group masturbation type of like cult situation.
Like the continuity of Baskin.
I mean, in a way. So, and the whole thing is very, very dream logic, and there are like even inspirations from David Cronenberg's Brood and stuff, and it was very crazy. So it turned out to be this like non-horror but fantastic thing that I did, and I loved it. And it's really like I never imagined I would love it as much as Baskin or Housewife or Girl with No Mouth. But now, like, I can't stop thinking about. I still love it, and I love the music and everything, the actors. But now, I think this year I'm gonna go back to my horror roots. I can't talk about it now, but I have something like big coming up, and I promise you, we'll do another one of this. and then I
Oh,
will tell you about it. Maybe in 1 month, maybe in 2 months.
Excellent.
okay.
So, because here people are asking about your next project there. Adriana asked about the next, they want to know about the next project. Okay, in 1 month, we will do a live and we will
In two
explain, or
months.
Yeah,
2 months.
let's say 2 months. Let's say 2 months.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm gonna do another commercial thing that I didn't write to pay the bills. But in terms of stuff that I write and direct, there is this new thing coming up. Hopefully, it's still at the pre-production financing and script stage, but there's serious light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope like I'll be with good news like in 2 months.
I want to say something about what I think that maybe happened with the girl with no mouth.
Mhm.
I think that people are really sometimes very precautious with the thing of children's drama and maybe intense genre when it comes to maybe getting into some politically correct film festivals. I mean, it's not the same making an adult film with really strong images. But if you bring kids, maybe people are like, oh no, let's not show this in a sense of maybe people get offended, or maybe they, because sometimes I thought the movie was great. And I thought it was a very commercial movie in comparison with your other films. So I really thought that maybe it was a film, maybe sort of like moving towards a commercial style. I even saw some of Spielberg style, maybe because the lead roles are kids, and it's something that is very characteristic of him. But I think that it was beautiful. And I can't believe that you tell me that it's a film that maybe wasn't such a success in festivals, because maybe I try to think that people saw something that is really strong. People, kids with deformities, and they say, oh, well, this is a subject that maybe nowadays we don't want to show.
I don't know.
Or the,
I mean, I don't know if it's that really, but it's really difficult to put a finger on what is it. But I'm not sure
I
if
think it's
so
very
much.
strange what you're saying. It's really strange. I can't believe
Yeah,
that it
yeah.
wasn't
I don't know.
accessible.
I don't know. Also, it would be very wrong for me to also not include Tigers Are Not Afraid
Yeah.
in my inspirations.
Isita
I think,
Lopez.
yes, right after I did first draft of Girl with No Mouth, I went to Morbido with Housewife, and then there I watched Tigers Are Not Afraid before any other Western or Eastern audience, and I was blown away. And I met Isita Lopez, and she told me she's a Baskin fan. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I think the death of Captain, as well as a couple other things, I just snatched from Tigers Are Not Afraid with lots of praise.
Yes, but I think that maybe it's maybe Isita Lopez, Tigers Are Not Afraid. It's more like a Guillermo del Toro film that has this sort of like relief, in a sense of that. I think it was a little bit more light in comparison to yours, bringing
Really?
children
No,
that,
I thought it was
because
really dark.
it's more, yeah, no, it's dark. I think it's dark. Both of them are dark. I think both of them are really dark films. But it's something that Guillermo del Toro already used that. I think the style. Guillermo del Toro uses a lot of the children oniric world to process difficult things that happen in life.
What's
Like,
this
for
word?
example,
What's this word you're using? Oniric. What does that mean?
oniric dreams, the dream world.
Dreams. Oniric is
Onírico.
oniric that belongs to the dream world.
Okay.
When you
Okay.
say
Okay.
oniric, it belongs to the dream.
Guillermo del Toro already made Laberinto del Fauno. He made the story of El Espinazo del Diablo. He made films that are similar to Tigers Are Not Don't Cry. I think maybe people were used to something like that, and maybe you brought something different, because it's sort of also it's like a Mad Max world, the world that you depict in your post-apocalyptic world. So I think that is something that it's new. I saw it. I think everything you bring is new. So that is something that is sometimes it's difficult for people to process new things. When I saw Isita Lopez film, I thought it was really a Guillermo del Toro film. She had that style. It's really a beautiful thing. I think it's one of my, Isita Lopez is one of my top Latin American writers and directors nowadays. But did you see my favorite movie, that Titanic? It's the most beautiful movie I ever watched. Nobody knows this movie.
Yeah. Very
I
funny.
don't understand the question. Estamos olvidándome, ¿no?
He's just trolling.
Yeah. Bueno, pero I want maybe the introduction of some of the people's questions. They are just bombarding question. I don't know if they have a question that I'm just letting it go, or a comment, because I don't know how to read Turkish. So if you want to read one of them.
If you want, I was going to ask you, did you play horror survival games as a young when you were a teenager? Because in Basket, I saw a lot of element of survival horror. I mean, people talk about Silent Hill. I mean, little details. I mean, I especially in the art, in the artistic department. I mean, I found a lot of influences. Did you were a fan of survival horror?
Yes, obviously. This is like mid 90s and early 90s. I grew up with Quake, Dark Seed, Phantasmagoria. Do you know Phantasmagoria?
Yes, of course.
Of course. And also this one thing, a very solid inspiration from a horror game is, when they entered the building, there was a cop was just banging his head on the wall. That's straight out of Sanitarium. There's this crazy game called Sanitarium, very Lovecraftian, very amazing. I think Sanitarium is very Silent Hill in a weird way, but also it's also very Cronenbergian and Lovecraftian too. And during those days, like the graphics weren't that good, but I think different levels were totally different games, and just to able to figure out what's going on in that level was an atmosphere on its own. So yes, I was definitely very inspired by those games.
Yeah, actually, I remember a detail of a broken wheelchair, because I read a lot. I mean, I play a lot of horror survival, but I also contact one of the people that work in those games, because I was a really fan, and they explained me that you put an object that doesn't belong to the scenery, it creates, it disturbs the audience, the player and the audience. And these details, I was going to ask you, you use a lot of these, subtle details. Well, the guy, and also I wanted to ask you about one of my favorite horror films, as Jacob's Ladder.
Yes.
The scene where he's like entering to hell. What people.
That's super disturbing. Yeah.
Did you use some of the artwork from Jacob's Ladder?
Not one by one, but it's it's in my library. I love that movie, and the idea to create what's in Baskin in terms of production design. This was after To My Mother and Father, my short film. Did you watch To My Mother and Father?
No, I didn't.
No.
Check it out. I think you would really enjoy it.
Where can we see it?
It's online. It's online. Just To My Mother and Father, 10 minutes, and then you can write me your feedback about it. Anyway, after that movie, I wanted to make something Lovecraftian, and I tried, but at my experience in Turkey 10 years ago, I realized I wasn't able to get any tentacles or anything going. And I tried to get this one. I had a script, and I tried to get it on. It didn't happen. I was super disappointed. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to make another short film. And then with this short film, I'm not going to spend any budget on it. I'm not going to have any prosthetics makeup on it. But whatever I can find in the hardware store and in the butcher shop, I'm going to make this crazy horror tunnel. These 5 cops will enter a horror tunnel. And that turned out to be the short film, Baskin.
Yeah.
And right before I did that short film, I watched an American crime thriller where these 2 guys two, I think one of them was Ethan Hawke. Two cops stumble upon a Mexican cartel, and it had some very and then it's not Sicario. This is like a couple years before Sicario. They find some like people in the walls or some people like underneath, and they're all like in black plastic bags.
But that is
And
Sicario.
No,
The
no,
first
no, no,
one.
this is not Sicario. They weren't like literally in the walls like in Sicario, but this movie is like, it's an amazing movie. I made my production designer watch it, and I said, you know what? I want to go like this, like very cheap plastic trash bags and blood, and we're gonna just put like some like pillows, and we're gonna make them look like human shaped bodies, and then with like very little budget, we created that, and that atmosphere. Together with like some spooky witchcraft kind of shit, it created the world of Baskin. But it was out of necessity and out of my gusto, like in movies. But this one came from this like particular Mexican cartel horror. It's not a horror movie, but like it's
Sinister.
no, it's not a horror movie. It's like two cops. One of them Hispanic, one of them Ethan Hawke, I think. Somebody.
Oh yes, I know. I think I know. I don't remember. Yeah. Ethan Hawke is one, and the other one, yes, it's a Spanish, Mexican actor.
I love that guy. Yeah, and so yeah, that movie inspired me in a weird way, but with my love for Lovecraft and my horror game gusto, it turned out in a different way, like in Baskin. So, and we continued the same thing in the feature film.
Yeah.
Are you planning? A lot of people ask. If you're going.
Sorry, one little thing. I also wanted that place to feel like the end of Apocalypse Now. When they enter that place to find Marlon Brando. How about all that like weird shit? And yeah, it's Training Day. Çetin Çelik came up with the right title. Training Day is the name. No, sorry. No, Çetin, it's not Training Day. No.
Training Day is with
I know it.
Denzel Washington, I think.
No, it's Ethan Hawke, a Mexican actor.
Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. And also I send my congrats to all the people that work in the art department, the director of art of Baskin, and the concept art, because it's amazing. Did you hire, professional, like say, artists, painters, or to do the concept art?
At the time, I had a super talented collaborator who co-wrote the thing with me, Cem Özüduru, and he's also a great illustrator. Together with him, we came up with this, and it was him drawing lots of that stuff on the art book. Also, like some other artists, I had.
Good Kill.
Sorry?
Good Kill.
Good Kill. Maybe it's that one.
No.
I'm obsessed right now. I need to know which film is it.
I'll find it. I promise you, I'll find it.
Good Kill. Let me see. So it's before Guerra Total, Predestination.
I'm afraid at the end it's gonna be it wasn't Ethan Hawke, it was this other guy.
No. A ver.
It's really.
La mujer del quinto antes era.
Guys, I'll find it and I'll send it to you. It was this. I wish I would remember the name of the other actor.
Predestination. Maybe it's Predestination.
Huh?
Predestination.
No. It's about LAPD movie. Okay, two cops, one Hispanic. Let me see if it comes up. Okay, I'm doing a wild.
I'm
Google.
just thinking about
it. It is here. Yes. I'm really good with like weird Google search words. End of Watch, 2012. End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Who is in it?
Sorry, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's not Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, they don't look alike.
Yeah, it's a David Ayer movie. David Ayer, and David Ayer did like some other like Really good movie. You should definitely check this movie out if you don't know
End of
about it.
watch. Let me see. Let
Creo
me
que la
see.
cuido.
End of watch. Okay.
End of watch.
I
It's
will
really
see
good.
it. I will see it.
Oh, that guy did
85% in
Suicide.
Rotten Tomatoes. We'll see it tonight. So I have a date right now.
Okay. He also did Suicide Squad 2016, which sucks. Apparently, I didn't see it. But yeah.
It's really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you know.
No,
Great.
I will watch it
That's out of
tonight.
my system.
I was asking you about this illustrator because the world, the universe that you create with Baskin can be expanded in graphic novels and all that. Have you thought about that?
I mean, since there isn't such an industry in Turkey, it's a long shot.
Well, you can do it with people. There's a lot of people abroad. You can use it if you write a script. Nowadays, it's easy to work globally. As a fan, I'm telling you. I mean, I would like to see more about those characters. Like, it happened.
Well, if any crazy horror illustrator is watching this show and he would be interested to do a kind of like a storyboard for the next installment in the Baskin thing, let him or her contact me and we can do something.
Now, you know what? Let's contact MCU and let's just make a comic horror film of the MCU multiverse that is now coming. Basking, the multiverse of madness.
Well, did you know most of the Marvel MCU illustrators are here from Latin America and Argentina? Actually, with Ariel Olivetti, we did a live with him. He's from Argentina. So I will start asking people because they work for DC, Marvel, Disney. So I will ask. I'm sure they will. Some of them they will love to do that.
Please do, because I do have something that we can work on about related to Baskin. Yeah.
Oh well. Great. Yes, we should do it. Yeah, because that's the funny thing about this kind of stories, fantasy stories. They create like a shared universe. People start when you create a short film, it's wonderful.
True. Yeah.
Have you experienced? Did you have? I know you have fans all over the world. Which was the stranger country did you receive a comment from of Baskin?
I'm not sure, but I think screening Baskin in Beirut was really special, in Lebanon, in the only horror film in the Arabic world, only horror film festival in the Arabic world. So screening my film there and meeting the amazing people in that festival, and they were super very cool, intellectual, hardcore horror fan, cinema people. I think that comes to mind as something that's out of ordinary. But also like going to Morbido was I went to Morbido twice. It's I cannot forget. It's like such a precious memory for me. It's one of the like farthest places I've been in the world. So yeah.
Well, next year you can come here to Argentina with Buenos Aires Rojo Sangre. We have our festival here. We can do a projection of Baskin on your latest project.
I would love to. I went to Mexico and that's about it. I didn't go to Latin America. I would love to. I mean, yeah. And whoops, sorry.
No, there are lots of horror fans here in Argentina, and we have lots of festivals here, horror festivals. We have Terror Córdoba, Chaco Terror. We have like every single one of the provinces here in Argentina has its own like horror festival. People are huge fans here of horror. And Festival Rojo Sangre, el Bars, is one of the most known and the biggest one we have here. And people around the world also come here to the festival.
Yeah, if you get me an invitation for any festival in Argentina, like I'm on that plane, boom. Really.
Adri, lo hacemos. Adri.
Yeah, sí. We're going to do it. And actually, I send you the top 10 of the Argentinian horror, and I send you one of them, the link to so you can watch some of the Argentinian films.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
I send.
I think, but I have a interesting Argentinian film in my library. It's a post-apocalyptic movie. There's a bit of comedy in it. It's Phase 7.
Phase 7.
You don't know about
Phase
it?
7. Oh, that's interesting.
Fase 7, Adri, ¿qué onda? Yo no la conozco.
No.
No, ¿ese es tóxico, no será? No, pero eso es argentino.
No. Creo que escuché hablar de esta. Es una de las tantas películas.
Argentina has been hit by a fatal epidemic. Inside the quarantine apartment building, Coco and his pregnant wife, Pipi, battle neighbors and hazmat-suited men keeping them sealed inside.
Mira.
Official winner of best script in Sitges Film Festival in 2010 and official selection to Fantasia and South by Southwest.
And you have the DVD? No, you're the best.
I mean, it's really interesting. Like at the time, I would go to Cannes Film Festival and Berlinale, and I would just like check other countries, pavilions, if you will, like their desks. And I went to Argentina, or was it South American desk or Argentina desk? And I said like, do you know about this film called Phase 7? And they said no. And I've been like on the search for this film for a couple years. And finally, I think like I had like, there's this like crazy Turkish Netflix show called The Protector. And
I saw it.
It's the first ever Turkish Netflix show, and I was the director. So I was.
You were the director of The Protector, the one that they have the sign like in the back, like o El Inmortal. Yeah, the sign.
He wears a shirt. And he's this like super famous guy in Latin America for some reason, like, and he has like super fans like in all over Latin America.
Because it was a success here. We all saw it. It was like a huge success here in Argentina. I think it has 2 seasons.
It has like 3 seasons, I think, 3 or 4. I only did the opening, like the first season, but I had like lots of clash with the producers because like I had lots of for creative differences, let's say, and it wasn't my script, and I didn't have the final cut, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And although it was like an honor to be the first director in Netflix Turkey, I kind of passed, and then I did Girl with No Mouth instead, and I lost all my money. But I'm proud. Anyway, this show, because of being the director of this show, I had so many fans from Latin America. Even my kid has a fan club, Argentinian fan club. Did you know about this?
No, I know because I have lots of friends of mine that are huge fans of The Protector. Like they saw every single one of the episodes crazy. And they're huge fans. Te juro, Adri, Matías, mi pareja, es tipo fan.
Wow. And at the time, I just like wrote to my story. Do I have any fans in Argentina who can
a lot of fans
who can get me this film called Phase 7? And there was this super cool guy. I don't even remember who. He purchased this and sent this to me.
Oh, wow.
That's a great story. Great story.
Yes.
I can't believe that you directed The Protector because I am part of the fandom of The Protector, not because I'm a huge fan. I saw it, I really enjoyed it, but there are people that are like huge fans here in Argentina. Like they have fandom here.
I think it's because there's this amazing love for the lead actor.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that you have to come here to Argentina and direct a film here. You already have the fandom. We all put money and you direct a film here in Argentina, a co-production, Turkish and Argentinian, and that's it. We have to do it. It's said. We can make like a sort of a continuity of The Protector versus Baskin.
And you will star in it, right?
Obviously.
Okay. Alfonsín Argentino presents.
No.
Of course.
The money. He has to get the money.
I'm good at that.
We're in a Great Depression here. With $1,000, you can make like a Marvel film here.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same. I think Turkey and Argentina are very similar in terms of how the country has gone. Like our economy has gone like really terrible in the last 10 years. You know, when I did Baskin, one US dollar was maybe like 3 Turkish liras. Now
No, we
one
are
US
much worse now.
now one US
yeah.
dollar is like 10 Turkish liras. Imagine, like in 6
No, my
years.
love, we're much worse. $1,
Yeah.
it's 200 pesos.
But what was it
$1.
like? What was it like 5 years ago?
100.
Much less. Yeah, 100 or less.
100.
But it's still
Maybe
double,
with one
double. In Turkey, we tripled or even
Yeah,
quadrupled. We quadrupled. So like that, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
Well, if we can get
we
like $1,000, we can make like the best movie in history here in
we
Argentina
yeah,
have to
because
do
we
this.
have very talented people
yeah.
behind and
You
in
will
front
be
of camera.
surprised.
We
You
have
will
to
be
do this.
surprised at the amount of talent people here. They can do. I know a guy who can do Transformers with $5,000. I mean, because they are very talented. No, no, really, because when you have when you don't have resource, you are forced to use your creativity, and that's
Yes,
how
yes.
good we are here. I mean,
Count,
yeah,
count me in. Where do I
Bas-
sign? Where do I sign?
We'll send you. We'll talk later, and also I will put you in contact with the illustrators from here because I'm sure they would love to do the graphic novel. I mean, it's a matter of connecting people because after that it's easy. And also, I want to ask you, Baskin is a very indie film. I mean, and I don't know the budget, but how much was the budget? Very low because
Yeah,
it looks up
yeah. It's super
because
low. And also, like we were just talking about, like comparing Tigers Are Not Afraid and Girl with No Mouth. Also, Girl with No Mouth budget is like, there's always like it's very, it depends when you say low budget, but they were like very like they were both like under like they were both under like 800, 700,000, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, it's very low. No, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, here we can do a lot of things with the little, with no little money. I mean, it's easier. So yeah, sure. When is the Rojo Sangre? ¿Cuándo es el Vars? The next one.
The next one will be in November, I think, but it has already closed up the films it will be projecting. So maybe next year. Or,
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know, maybe you can speak with the guys. People in the bars are really fans of horror films. I think that if you write them and you say, okay, let's just project Baskin, they will say, let's do it. Like, they're really cool. They're really cool people.
yeah.
And
Which
they just
city? Which city is that?
are Buenos
No,
Aires.
Buenos Aires. Okay.
but
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
when
yeah, I
you
will.
say Buenos Aires, a movie that plays in Buenos Aires, you know which movie comes to my mind first, which is really ridiculous, but
Which one?
Starship Troopers.
I love
Starship
Starship
Trooper.
Troopers.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
because
Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires was
yeah,
destroyed, and
Johnny
it was the
Rico is
city of
from
the
Buenos
main
Aires.
character.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, also like
yeah,
I love Starship Troopers,
me
and
too.
the fact that it's in Buenos Aires, but it has nothing to do with Buenos Aires. I love it's a super criticism that the whole world is going to be Americanized. Like I love it.
You know, the first one, I'm a huge fan of the first one. I never saw the other
Yeah,
ones
me too. Me
because
too.
it
Me
was
too.
like a
Yeah.
different sort of story. But it was really funny because I saw it when I was very little and I didn't understand like really the thing about Buenos Aires. And a few months ago, I said, okay, I'm going to see again Starship Troopers because there's some films that you have to see them once in a while again.
Yes.
So I just
mm,
started seeing it. I was Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires. I was, oh, we're very famous in this film. Let me see Buenos Aires. It was all like white people, like very rich white people. I was like, yeah, we're not that, but it's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And
And
exactly because of that, the fact that it's in Buenos Aires, it's very in sync with the caricaturization and the statement of the movie. That's why I love that movie.
I love the
mm,
monsters. I'm a huge fan of
yeah,
monsters, and the monsters are really beautiful, like the insects. It's really, you know what? It's really bad acting. I mean, everyone, it's like very bad acting, and there is no sense. suddenly everyone is killed, and the guy is like, I want to kiss you now. We cannot kiss right now. We're
But
just
I
friends.
think,
And in the middle of nowhere, I'm like, out of the blue, we
but
start
I
to
think
speak
it's
about
intentional. I honestly think it's intentional. The whole acting
maybe.
and the vibe is very like it's that's why it's in Buenos Aires. You know,
No.
that's why the whole movie has that attitude. You know, all those commercials that being a trooper, come with us to space, da 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 da, and also the characters are like, you know, from Beverly Hills 90210, you
Yeah.
know, and but it's set in Buenos Aires, but it could be set in anywhere in the world. That's the joke of it, I think, you know.
No, I think
Yeah.
that it's maybe a joke about, you know, the First World War, when there was like
Yeah, Sam.
Uncle, how do you say, Uncle Sam, like saying, now it's your turn to fight, and the women
Go
with
ahead.
the arm.
Go
I
ahead.
think it's really like a
Who
sort of,
want you?
yeah, a blink in the eye about that moment of time, about war and everything, and the war of, the constant war that America is having with all the countries around the world. So I think that there's a sort of wink to that situation, and to how Americans in general mind works, like how, yeah, let's go and fight, we're going to fight, yeah, okay, let's go and have a war, you know, that I'm really cool because now I'm a soldier. And so I can see that like a criticism, but I think that maybe the acting was bad because it was bad. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but
Well,
I really
well,
enjoy the monsters.
I love
So
those
they,
actors. I love those actors.
they get to the heart. I mean, the guy suddenly
uh,
sees everyone dead he loves, his parents die, and suddenly he just spills out phrases that have no sense at all with what the emotional character is living through. Like, oh, my parents died. I know that you like that guy. Like sort of like telenovela style.
Yeah,
soap
yeah,
opera,
Like
exactly,
yeah.
exactly telenovela style. That's why. Yeah,
telenovela
yeah.
a
Yeah.
pleno.
No, actually, I
Starship
have
Troop.
here the novel, Starship Troopers. It's Tropas de Espacio. The novel actually it's the opposite. It's like it's like they're like trying to say military life is the best, and the movie is the opposite. They are
But
mocking the military life.
really, but I think the whole thing is like it's an allegory on like anti-militarism, no?
No, no. Well, the
The
movie,
book,
but
the book.
the
I'm,
novel, it's the opposite.
I haven't read it, but if you read it, okay. But I've heard at the time the movie is a very light and caricature version of the book. That's why it was a bit panned by the critics. But then again, it was also like an anti-militaristic. But I don't know. I haven't read it, so.
Well, I mean, I read it, and for me, it's more like the author. It's like
Robert
it's
Heinlein,
like
right?
it's proud of the military life because he was a soldier. And actually, I have a very interesting talk with Phil Tippett, who made the monsters. Is the guy who made the monsters,
I
and
love the
Phil told me.
monsters.
Yeah, Phil told me nobody in that film, including the director, read the novel. Actually, the director said it was too boring. Don't want to read it. So nobody, not even the scriptwriter. So it has
That is
nothing to do
very
with.
American.
But Paul Verhoeven, like I love Paul Verhoeven so much. Maybe it's because
Yeah.
of my positive prejudice for Paul Verhoeven and his sense of humor in RoboCop and Total Recall. I think it's like an exaggerated version of the same sense of humor, where like the movie doesn't take itself seriously, but if you believe the movie, if you believe that telenovela acting, the movie is also very proud of military. You know, like that's the way it kind of mocks military. Like the movie itself and the actors are very like proud. So yeah, you
Yeah.
know.
No, but it also shows. I know I saw it when I was very little, and I was really traumatized by all the thing about the mutilated bodies that it showed, like the mutilation.
Yes,
I think I
yes.
was 10 years old, and now I'm still speaking with psychiatrist about that film. Like it
Also,
really got
do you remember? Do you remember there was this just like in RoboCop in the movie? There's all these like commercials that come in between, you know, military
yeah,
commercials. And in one commercial, they were like making some experiments and killing a bug, a monster, and
yeah.
they were censoring it. And it was censored. And right after that, they showed lots of mutilated humans with no censors. So those type of little touches from Paul Verhoeven make me love that movie. And obviously, the monsters are amazing in that movie. The
I
monsters,
love
like,
the monsters. As a
yeah,
huge
yeah,
monster fan, I think that the film won my heart because of the monsters.
yeah.
And I think when I saw the trailer of the upcoming second part, I saw all the CGI monsters and I was like, no, I will
Yeah.
not watch any monster with CGI. I like
No, no.
monsters that are made, really made. I mean, I can see in a movie if the monster is CGI, it's very obvious, and I don't enjoy it as much as I see when someone creates a monster.
Mm.
Like I'm a huge Giga fan, a huge
Same,
Giga fan,
same here. Same
and
here.
I think that a monster should be made and created by the hand of people, and that is something that it generates something else in the audience, like watching
Of course.
the I don't know, the saliva drop from the alien. It's something totally different by watching a CGI of Thanos. I think it's like
Clara,
something
Clara,
else.
please remind me, and I'll send you an essay I wrote in university about the special effects of the thing and why it matters.
Carpenter.
Yes, and why it matters to have those undefinable, but you know, taking notice to its own fabricated nature type of effects to have in that certain type of movie, and how those type of plastic effects play into the idea of this uncanny and fantastic. And we can, like, I can send you the essay. Maybe you could
Send
appreciate.
it to me. You
Yeah,
know what? When the thing came out, it was not really appreciated by the
I know,
audience
I
at that
know.
time. And the special effects that it has, like all the monsters and all the prosthetic that they made, were very advanced for that moment of the cinema history. It was very advanced. And nowadays, if you see it, I honestly, I think there was such a huge crash between the prequel that they make, like the first part that they make. I
Yeah.
think it was 2011 that they made it all by CGI, and in comparison with the thing in the 80s and the amount of effort that they made with the prosthetics is something that I think that's why it became very rapidly a cult movie,
Yes,
because it's
like it's
something that was beyond that time.
when Baskin was selected to AFI Festival in LA, right after Morbido, we went to LA with my wife, and when we arrived there, I had a very talented short filmmaker. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name, but he had this puppet horror movie, amazing, and he was working in Studio ADI. Studio ADI is the studio which made the all the effects of Starship Troopers, Alien 4, as well as I think Tremors and some other like amazing movies. And I went there and they gave me a tour of Studio ADI. It was beautiful, and that studio was the studio who did the creature effects for The Thing, 2011 The Thing, and the production company ended up not using those and
Ah,
replaced them with
no.
CGI. Yeah, and
Huge mistake.
with all the amazing stuff they did, Studio ADI took the matters to their own hands, and they made a movie. They financed it, and they made a movie that takes place on the sea, a horror movie that takes place on the sea. I think it has a weird name, but like if you just like type into Google Studio ADI making movie with the stuff that wasn't used in The Thing, the movie itself wasn't really amazing, but the CGI effects were really cool. Harbinger Down,
ADI.
Harbinger Down, Harbinger Down, the name of the movie.
Harbinger Down.
Yeah, it's a cool movie.
I will watch it because I haven't watched it, and
I mean,
I'm
if you're a special makeup creature monster effect fan, even if you just fast forward and watch those scenes, it's really cool.
I love sea creatures. Like even though maybe people didn't like the movie Underwater, I really appreciate it, and it was a film that I think that people maybe watched it without knowing it was a Lovecraft film. And I think that there is a lot. I don't know if you liked it or not, but for me, it was a good film, and
I
I
was
like.
I was sorry. You go ahead.
No, no, there are some films in the 80s, very, very unknown films like Leviathan. I don't know if you saw it. Leviathan
Mm.
is a movie that is like the Carpenter's thing, but under the sea. It's like they
You're
found
amazing.
like
You're amazing. I love that movie.
it's a beautiful thing. I love undersea monsters.
With the
Well, I love
actor
monsters.
from RoboCop, right? Peter Weller.
Yeah,
Peter
exactly,
Weller's in it. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that film, I love like discovering these gems about like in the 80s, I think there was a boom that people like were just motivated to make monsters. And it was a great time for me to of horror films. And I think that nowadays people shouldn't be so afraid of making monsters. Here in
Yeah,
Argentina,
yeah.
I'm always saying to Adrian, we have to tell direct horror film directors to just let go of all the phobias that maybe you have because of making a monster and just do it
Yeah.
because I think they are really marvelous. Every monster that you can create with your nightmare as inspiration will
I'm
do.
totally with you. I'm 100% with you. Also, I don't want to give any spoilers, but if you find time, please do watch the Naked, the show that I did, this
The
mini
Naked
series
Gun.
about this. No,
Just
no, no,
kidding.
about this girl. In the second season, I did a little prosthetic makeup thing, and when I was doing it, my producer was saying, "John, they're gonna laugh at us," and my DOP was saying, "John, are you sure?" And then it turned out, although it's very small, it turned out to be this beautiful thing, and I wouldn't change it for any other CGI.
You know what?
Mm.
I think that CGI is very over the top appreciated by what audience really have to connect with.
No,
I mean
but
that,
I think CGI is great if you use it in you
yeah, to
know,
make it Gravity is a very good
to
thing
get
because you
no no
made
no
the movie
also
Gravity.
also for like Terminator 2, for like Jurassic
Yeah,
Park, the close up is a puppet,
yeah,
the main shot is CGI, the mid close up is a different kind of effect. If you just like mix them all together, CGI is perfect. For instance, in Irreversible, the head crushing scene,
yes,
it's
that was
amazing
beautiful.
it's amazing prosthetics polished by CGI. I think CGI is amazing when you integrate it into other
When
effects,
you
Yeah.
connect them,
You,
I
when you
think
mix
too.
them, when
You
you
know,
mix them. So
there's a docu series in Netflix now that it's called The Movies That Made Us.
yes, I've seen
And
it. I've
it's
seen it.
it's really funny, like films like how they made films like Ghostbusters or maybe
Yeah.
now Jurassic Park is like one of the films in the second season. And I think that there is like sort of a new beginning in the 90s with the CGI and the experimentation with up to which point we can use a real prosthetics or a CGI monster. And there are
And
lots of films.
nowadays they're doing this in Mandalorian. They're shooting the whole thing in a CGI studio. It's really breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart. Like the art is changing, and I'm a dinosaur. I
Baby
think
Yoda.
in that like I like it's really sad.
Well, but some
Mm.
monsters in Mandalorian are very good. Like the Sun monster, maybe like Tremors style that they had in season one. It's really cool. I mean, or it's season
I
two.
have
I
to
don't
see it. I
remember.
still haven't seen it. By the way, I was
Mm.
really impressed by I didn't like. I wasn't in love with Underwater, but I loved the huge one big Cthulhu at the end.
Cthulhu, yeah, but that's the
But
best part of the film.
the thing is, also I'm gonna criticize when those guys see that huge monster, they're just looking at it. They should have a heart attack or something. That's why when I first read Call of Cthulhu, the short story from H.P. Lovecraft, I was like, when I was a kid, whenever like we're sailing, whenever I look at the islands in the sea, I would imagine, what if those islands just stood up and they're the back of a huge monster? You know,
They are
Godzilla did it,
Cthulhu.
the bigger than Godzilla, bigger than King Kong. You know, and whenever I watch the new giant creature movie, I'm like, no, 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 it should be bigger. It should be bigger. And then when I finally read Lovecraft's Call of Cthulhu, I found the size, and also not only the size. You know, when Cthulhu first comes up, a couple of the sailors, they just have a heart attack and they just die. It's not even heart attack. They just die
Or
of
they
terror.
become mad.
They just go mad. You know, like if you see something that big, you're not gonna go. That's why like the new Godzilla movies and stuff, you know, like all those pilots, they're like, oh my god, there's a creature. Like you would be a different person. You would be like paralyzed when you see that. You know, you would be like hallucinating if you see something that big. You know, so. Also at the end of Underwater, when that huge Cthulhu creature emerges, I would expect that type of reaction from the characters, but you know,
That's true. That's true.
nobody's perfect.
And you know that they announced that they are going to make the Mountains of Madness, and
This been like people have been talking about it for some while, but like I never.
and also the
materialized.
Call of Cthulhu. They are going to make. They're supposedly
Chetin,
gonna make.
like one of the fans here, Chetin, he's been like mentioning Dagon for the second time, and I think that movie was also very cool. It was a
Dagon
bit like from Stuart Gordon. I love that movie.
Yeah, and you know that Guillermo del Toro was going to make the Mountains of Madness.
Yes,
but then he
yes.
backed up because what was the name of the movie that came out and it was really similar?
The Alien prequel. The Alien prequel. How do you
Prometeo.
say? Prometheus.
What
Yeah,
is it?
because Guillermo del Toro says it's the same. Now I cannot do this because they are telling the same story. So he backed down and says Prometheus killed the mouth of madness.
I wasn't
Yes.
impressed with Prometheus. I don't remember much, to be honest.
Prometheus is not an alien film. I will say this for the people to know. It has nothing to do with Alien. Do not relate Prometheus with Alien. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
I totally
Please
agree. I totally agree.
do not connect any dot between either one of the films. The only thing they share, maybe it's the first director of the first film, but that's it. Please do not
Yeah.
say
I was also very, very heartbroken and disillusioned by Alien versus Predator.
Oh,
the first one. No, but this has nothing to do. I think that there is a mistake here because I think that those are movies that are made for the fandoms.
But
I
come
think
on, like Alien versus Predator has an amazing graphic novel. Alien versus 1 and Alien versus 2 are two amazing PC CD-ROM games. Also, I think they're available in PlayStation 1 or 2. There is I've played Alien versus Predators with an amazing storyline, and I was impressed. I was floored. And when I saw in the movie, when I saw Predator doing American wrestling movies, like WWE movies, like taking an alien and just slamming the alien into the wall, I'm like, you know, you just ruined it. You just ruined it. Also, I don't remember the name of the lead actress.
Bishop.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I love Bishop. No,
But Bishop is in the film.
Yeah, which is like amazing. Like also like the first opening half an hour of that movie is so good. I was really like upset like later in the movie. Like I think the first half an hour I was like, and then like as soon as they started fighting, and at the end, you know, the hero, like there was a girl who manages to crush an alien queen. I mean, where's Ripley? Where's Arnold Schwarzenegger? Where's Danny Glover in Amazing Predator 2? And where's this girl? You know, this girl, like really, I didn't buy it. I hated it. You know, they just like, you know, that movie is like a huge, and I was waiting for that movie. Like, I'm a huge Giger fan. I'm a huge Predator Alien fan. So like, I was super disappointed. And I love Bishop.
Run to the chopper.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that the movie has a really good beginning as
Look,
well.
check out my
that
tattoo.
What is that? No, the handshake that ended racism.
Predator, yes.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. What's the matter? CIA got you pushing too many pencils. Sorry, I'm a huge fan. I know like the whole movie by heart. Maybe. Sorry. I don't have many friends. I just learned the Predator film by heart, and just those epic lines of Predator. But you know what? The story about there being under ice pyramid, I think it was really good. But I think from the beginning, I think the movie was a fandom movie.
True.
And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
at that point in the script, they broke through certain rules of making a really good film,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to sell it. And
I
let's
think
sell the
you
film,
put it
so let's
perfectly.
make
Yeah.
this. I think that there sometimes when productions gets in your neck, maybe there's some things that are broken, that are not able to appear for people that are huge fans, or maybe the script was another script, but they wanted to
Yeah.
make a script, I don't know, for people over 13 to watch the film. So we don't have to show maybe the nudes, or we don't have to show the gore in a sort of very, I don't know. There are some things that I think that maybe I say, oh, this is production, that is just cutting the line of the director or the storytelling.
Also, since we mentioned Peter Weller and Monsters, did you watch this crazy movie where Peter Weller, when his wife goes to another country or city, he battles a huge rat in the house?
No.
You have
Wait,
to check this movie out. Just
is
type.
that
Wow.
like Pumpkinhead or no?
No, it's a
Pumpkinhead,
rat.
no.
Rat in a house. Rat in a house. A huge rat though, and I think it's called Of Unknown Origin. Unknown Origin. That's the name of the movie. Just type Peter Weller and rat, and then you're in for a nice ride.
So I have 3 films that I have to watch. Okay, I can make
Great.
that.
But these are all very
You
geeky. Oh, I think all 3 movies I said today are geeky advice. They're not really amazing, any of them, but I think you would appreciate some things in it for sure.
I appreciate a huge rats. So
Exactly. That's it. Boom.
come to me, huge rats.
Huge
Let's
rat.
see.
That's it.
actually, there's a film by the creator of the monster of Starship Troopers that is releasing now. That's called Mad God. I watched the short film. It's amazing. I don't know. Look it up. Mad God.
Mad
It's all
God.
a stop motion film by the creator, by Phil Tippett. He released it like 2 weeks ago. It's amazing. It's all the monster he has in his head. He put it all together in an indie project that took 30 years to do because it was indie. He used Kickstarter. I mean, it's
Mad God. Okay, I'll definitely check it out. By the way, Adrian, I think this would maybe make sense better in the beginning of the video, beginning of the interview. But like, you know all about me, but I don't know much about you. Like, how did you make this like account, and like, what do you do like for money, and like, what's your love for films? How come you're a horror fan?
Well, the truth is like this. I always was a sci-fi, horror, fantasy geek, but I was going to study filmmaking, but I don't know what happened, and I ended up studying economics. For 10 years, I spent in the economic world. I lived in France, in Colombia, Israel. I mean, I was everywhere, and suddenly I decided to come back to my origins, but and I discovered that I could use my knowledge to help all the filmmakers, because I write stories. I released my first short animated film in English. It's a horror. I will send it to you. It's in a YouTube channel. And now I'm helping directors and producers from all over the world to because I know the artists, they don't know how to create the business. And I have noticed that. So I say, I can help you. I know how to create the marketing. I know how to do all this because, well, I'm a fan. I know what I want. I know what you want to do. I want to help you. So, and I started 1 year ago. I mean, and I met a lot of people. I contact producers
You
from
met
LA.
me,
I mean,
Adrian.
because
You
we are
met
all
me.
fans. I met Clara and said, I will help you. I will contact. And I started introducing people. For
Okay,
example,
so we're definitely making a movie in Argentina with you, huh?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we can do
Let's
it.
seriously get to this.
Yeah, yes. Let's start because that's the whole idea. I'm I'm good at introducing people and finding that. And yeah, we can do it. Excellent. Let's
Okay.
start working.
By the way,
Let's do it.
yeah. By the way, I think like my son is crying down. I think I should like be leaving sometime soon. But what time is it over there?
We made like
no,
a
it's
live, 5 hours live. We can leave.
yeah. I think it's 4 or 5 o'clock
Okay,
in the
you
afternoon.
continue. I'm coming. I'm coming back in half an hour. If you're still here, I'm gonna join again.
No, I'm not going to be here. Ciao, Adrian. Bye.
5 hours. Adrian is gonna be here 5 hours.
No, please, no, Adrian.
No, I had a lot of work. Well, that actually, I as I was telling you, I left all the economic work just to be full time in the production related to sci-fi fantasy in all media, comic books, graphic novels, literature, and filmmaking. So I met in all the artists from. That's why I know illustrators from everywhere. And I talk. Every day I talk with 100 people around the world.
And also,
I mean,
also you do this Alfonso in Argentino on the side as a side job, right?
no, the fans in Argento is for Dario Argento. No, Argentino is for Argento. It's
What? I keep reading it. It's like Argentina.
Yo también
no,
pensaba. I
no.
thought as well it was from Argentina.
Everyone thinks that, but I mean, I've been talking to people from all over the world. Actually, a lot of people that follow us are from Germany, United States, Australia. We've done live with people.
And
I create the fun.
You're based in which city?
Buenos
In
Aires.
Argentina, in Buenos Aires, but
Buenos Aires,
I can be
bitch.
everywhere. And I create the Fast in Argento, the YouTube channel, the TikTok, to work with marketing friends that work in marketing that are also fans of horror films. So we can use our knowledge to really help these amazing artists, and we can start doing that. So I'm a proactive fan. Now, I don't know if we call it producer or whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's why
That's awesome. Okay, there's more stories and crazy stuff to talk for the next one. And next one, I'm coming with big news. But yeah, let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. Especially for like making something in Argentina. Let's always like keep it at the back.
Let's
but
do
also
it.
like drawing something related to Baskin. If Adrian, if there's really some like talented guy that you would think that would be fit for the job, I have something that I would love to talk to you.
Okay, I will contact illustrators. We can do a Zoom, and you can talk. We can talk to. Yes, of course.
Okay.
People here, we have very talented people.
You have to remember that with $1,000, we can make a Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 here in Argentina.
Well, I don't know that, but close enough. Yeah.
Well, goodbye, people.
So, guys, bye, people. Thank you very much, and let's keep in touch. Bye-bye.